Thanks for tuning in to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. Here you'll find tips, insight, and information to help your music and your ministry succeed. Whether you're a singer, a musician, or a songwriter, we want to help you where you are, but we also want to help you get to where you want to go. We believe that our talents are God's gift to us, but what we do with those are our gift back to God. Yesterday's information is important, but what we can learn today will make this the best day yet. Hey everybody, Rob Novell here. Welcome back to the CNS podcast, The Best Day Yet. Truly hope that you are getting information out of these each week. We release a new one of these every single Tuesday morning, and I've had some feedback over the last couple weeks from people that they're enjoying them. They are getting information out of them, and that's our objective. The Charles Novell School of Music, man, we are all about encouraging, uplifting, and motivating and pushing singers, musicians, songwriters to be better at what they do. Personally, for me, I feel this way. And look, this is my podcast, right? So it's my viewpoint, and you don't have to agree with me. It's perfectly fine. It's not a problem at all. But here's my thing. I believe that God gives us abilities for us to be stewards over. And Rob feels this way about what Rob does. If Rob doesn't take what God's given me and try to be the best that I can be to improve what I do unto Him, first and foremost, this podcast today, all these podcasts, everything I do with CNS, the Charles Novell School of Music, everything I do with my personal ministry, man, it's all about first and foremost doing it for God. Then I'm doing it for other people. So I believe this way. If I don't perfect what He's given me, I truly believe He'll take it and give it to someone else. So, man, I don't want you all to go through that. So we're trying to offer these tips and tricks. So today we're going to talk, controversial subject here. You're either in with this or you're not. But I'm hoping if you're on the outside of this topic, by the end of today's podcast, I'm truly hoping that I'll open your ears, your mind, and your heart to the importance of, what are we talking today? Music theory. And the title of this is Why Music Theory? ? So we're going to answer that question today. Out of everything that I do, music theory, honestly, y'all, is my favorite part of music. So here's the thing. I grew up in this school. At 5 years of age, I was sitting in theory classes and I was enjoying it. I was getting something out of it. Music theory has really shaped and formed my path, my career, if you want to use that word. It's opened so many doors for me that I want to explain in this few short minutes that we have today. So here's the thing on music theory. Music theory examines the elements that constructs a piece of music, including notation, key signatures, time signatures, chord progressions. It's the in and out, the rules of music. And this is my take on it. I love music. I love everything about music. And here's why. Let me give you 5 important factors to music. 5 reasons I believe that everyone should have music in their lives. Number 1, it brings people together. Whether it's individuals, 2 people joining together to create music, or if you think of a concert aspect, obviously we have people in attendance, we have fans, we have people coming to the show, coming to the service, coming to the concert, whatever word you want to put on it. It brings people together. Number 2, music improves your health and your well-being. It is scientifically proven. So you don't believe me? Those opinions we've already talked about tonight, man, studies will show what it will do for health and well-being. It's a proven fact that young kids that study music are better in their school studies because of the discipline that studying music brings to their life. The third thing, music can improve confidence and resilience. Man, I don't know how many times in talking with students that I've just simply said, you know what? You're playing the notes, you're playing the rhythms, everything is correct. The only thing you're lacking is confidence. And music truly, truly helps us develop that confidence and resilience. Number 4, music is a creative outlet. That's the most enjoyment that I get out of music. It allows me, musical people in the arts, we're creative people, and music allows us that lane of creativity. I love that aspect of music. And then the final thing, hey, music is fun. Man, there's so many stories, memories, experiences that I've been through in my life due to music that I could share. It would take hours and hours and hours to go through them. But man, I am thankful and I am blessed for the gift of music because it has truly, truly shaped my life. So we're going to look at some things today on music theory. I want to maybe give you some reasons why it is good for you. And then, maybe some pros and cons type of approach here with this. So let's go through the cons first. There are none. There you go. See, that was easy. That was quick. No, seriously, let's back up. I talk to people all the time and they say, Rob, I don't need music theory because I don't read. I don't have to read. I don't plan on reading, and I'm not going to read. I'm not going to read music. Okay. I get that. You do not, listen to me, you do not need to read music in order to be a musician, a singer, or a songwriter. That is not the topic today. But using music theory and having that knowledge is going to make you a better singer, musician, or songwriter, period. It's 2022. Over the last 10, 15 years, and now this is not all churches. I know there's some of you that are still holding on, but over the last 10, 15 years, churches have transitioned the hymnals out of the church. You go into churches and there's nothing on that pew in front of you because they've replaced it with newer worship music, and that's okay. Hear me clearly. This podcast today is not about hymns versus worship. That's not. No, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But here's the thing. Here's why I miss the hymnals in the church. Again, Rob's personal opinion. Think about it. The way I grew up, like most of you, I was told to turn to page 364, and we're going to sing the first, the third, and the fourth, and off we go. And what we were doing by having everyone in the church holding a hymnal in their hand, reading music, we were teaching them to read. Now, maybe they didn't know that was an E or a C or a G flat, but they could follow and see that the notes were going up, the notes were going down. You can follow along. We've replaced that with words on the wall. Nothing wrong with words on the wall, minus we are taking that aspect out of our church services of teaching people to read music. So music theory, very, very important. Music theory for me has opened numerous doors. In my personal teaching, I teach this way. I've got a phrase. I've probably said it already on one of these podcasts. Music theory allows me to work smarter and not harder. I teach this concept to my students. What I do with the ability to read music, I can look at printed music and I see the chord structure of each measure. I can read the notes and I can play it verbatim the way it's printed. But at this stage of my music, I'm using my music theory background to look into the music, analyze it, and make it simpler for my mind to see the chord structure, play the chords, and I can improvise around that. If I'm needed to play the melody, that's the benefit to reading. The melody's right there. All you got to do is read it and play it. So theory helped me. The thing that I love most about music and being a musician and an arranger and a producer and everything that I do, my favorite aspect or element of music is rhythm. And my background in music theory allows me to read rhythms and to be able to count different rhythms. Again, our church people, they're struggling, you all. All you got to do is listen to them clap. Ain't nobody know how to clap anymore. So, again, we have taken elements and fundamentals of music away from our congregation. So for me, the music theory background allows me to understand rhythms better. How has that helped me? Man, that's opened so many doors for me. Man, my big brother, Jeff Stice, he would use me on recording sessions. And I remember one of the coolest experiences that I had with him, and just a cool moment, was I got a call from Jeff. He said, hey, he was with Triumphant at the time, and he said, hey, we're cutting a project, and I want you to come and play bass guitar on it. And I said, for the guys, for Triumphant? And he said, yeah. I said, wow, that's cool. So I got there. I'm thinking, man, this is just a table project, something that they're doing. I get there. Mike Speck is there. He was co-producing with Jeff Stice. And come to find out, this was a major label release for Triumphant. And Jeff said, Robbie, you're here because the way that you approach your playing theoretically and rhythmically, that's why you're here today. So here's what I need you to do. Do this, do that. I need you to play. If you're playing too much, I'll tell you, but I know you won't. Just you do your thing, but you're here for those reasons. So that has opened other doors for me because of whether I'm playing bass guitar or piano. I'm a very rhythmic player, and I like to adapt the song around rhythm. So music theory allows me to do that. Music theory with songwriting. Man, so many times at CNS, I hear songwriters say this, man, I'm great with lyrics, but I'm really bad with music. Well, they don't know a C chord from a Honda Accord. They don't know. They just simply don't know. And that's why we offer theory at the Charles Novell School of Music. We have 3 levels of theory. We have a beginning class, we have an intermediate, and we have an advanced. If you know nothing about music theory, you can't, open a song book or a hymnal or any piece of printed music and identify anything on that page, then you come to beginning theory. We teach you from the basics. We have intermediate. Intermediate kind of starts with intervals and gets into chord building and gets into harmonization. The advanced theory, and we're talking chord progressions. We're digging in. We're talking added chords. We're talking different things rhythmically, again, that can change the song. Arranging tips are given in that advanced theory 3 class. So we have it set aside to help people on their level. But back to the songwriters, man, that's the biggest thing that I've heard over all these years. Man, I'm okay with my lyrics. I can do this, I can do that. But when it comes to music, I've got to get with somebody. Well, I'm going to have a podcast coming out shortly, and it'll be mind-blowing the number of potential chords that you or any listener will be able to create by the end of that 25 minute podcast. It's going to be mind-blowing how many you can use. And here's the reason. Back to what I said, smarter, not harder. The biggest advantage to music theory for me is it shows me the patterns of music. It allows me to create shortcuts. It allows me to work smarter, not harder. So with songwriters, you start to get a chord knowledge underneath you. You start to understand basic harmonization principles, and man, your songwriting goes to new levels immediately, instantly. So, music theory for our singers. Probably the number one thing, again, over all these years with CNS that I've heard is, I can sing the melody, but I can't sing parts. I can't harmonize. How do you do that? I don't know. Sometimes I get questions and I'll be that guy. I'm not going to fake it till I make it. I'll look at somebody and say, I have no clue. I have no clue. Here's the logic of that answer for, how do you learn parts? The reason that I say I don't know is this. If you learn, by your own admission, you just told me you can sing the melody, but you can't sing a part. Well, listen, if you've learned the melody, that's a part. That's one of the 3 notes that are in a chord. So if your brain and your mind and your vocal cords can all connect to give me melody, then your brains, your vocal cords can combine to give me a part. But I do understand the fact that, I don't know where to go. Okay. Music theory teaches you that. Music theory shows you the difference in intervals. A side thing to theory is ear training. If you are a singer and you struggle with parts, man, get on Google, get on the internet, Google ear training. There's going to be all kinds of opportunities come up on your screen where you can go and you can study ear training. Ear training allows you to hear the interval between notes, the interval between pitches. That's how we measure in music. Interval is the distance between 2 notes. So just like 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock is the interval of an hour, from Atlanta to Cincinnati is the interval of 500 miles. From a C to an E is the interval of what we call a third. And you start to understand how intervals work, then you start to understand harmony and you start to be able to hear other parts. So it's important for singers, musicians. The ability to read will open doors for you. Not being able to read is simply going to limit the opportunities that you can go out and play music. So, funny story with me. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Been here way too long, but we're here. And so I teach at 2 church academies here in Gwinnett County, Georgia. And little backstory on Rob. Rob is a transplanted Pentecostal Yankee. And I'm down here teaching in the South in 2 Southern Baptist music academies. So that's already shows you God has a sense of humor, number 1. Number 2, it shows you that your ability to do something can open a door for you. So I've been teaching in these academies, and one of them in particular that I work at, I love both places because my students are, they're church families. They're great backgrounds and amazing families, amazing churches that I'm associated with. And it's just a great environment to teach music and help people chase their dreams. I love what I get to do on that side of things. So at one of the churches, I got a call from the guy that, my boss, the guy that runs the School of Music. And he said, hey, Rob, I'm down a man. It's our big Christmas program. And we're talking huge choir, orchestra, the full, everything, big production. And I'm down a man. Can you come and fill in for me? And I said, absolutely. I'd love to. Is it piano? No. Is it auxiliary keys? No, that's covered. Is it bass guitar? No. Is it guitar? No. And I'm like, look, next to my kazoo, I'm done. I'm out. That's my limit. I'm at the end of what I can offer you. And I said, what in the world do you need me to do? He said, I need you to come play percussion. I said, percussion? He said, yeah. He said, it consists of, timpani and tube bells and tambourine and triangle and xylophones and glockenspiels and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And I'm like, dude, I have never done this. Not one day in my life have I done this. So I think I'm going to have to say no. And he's like, look, you read. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. He said, okay, so you show up, you read, if you grab a tambourine hit here and a gong here and a tube bell there, that's going to be more than if I don't have anyone in that station. And I'm like, okay, you truly, truly have called everybody in your phone book, and I am your last resort. So I showed up. I did the thing. Y'all, hilarious, funny stuff. But I did it. It gave me a chance to plug in and be a part. There was a paycheck in it for me. I'll throw that out there right now. So, reading music has opened so many doors for me. So you know what? You want to be a percussion player in a huge church music Christmas program? All right, get into this music theory, learn to read. So many ways that theory can help you. Don't feel like, well, that's boring. That's all the written rules of music. Yes, it is. But here's the thing. When we're learning to drive, we go to driver's education. Why? So we can learn what? All the rules necessary to operate a car. And if you're out driving and you get pulled over and the officer comes up to your car and says, you know why I pulled you over? And you're like, no, sir. And he's like, you were speeding. If you've not been to driver's ed, you do not know the rules. So therefore you do not know that you're speeding. Correct? My point is this. We tend to learn rules so we can what? Kind of break them on the other side. And a lot of music theory, a lot of the dotting this and the crossing that, we are getting the information stored into our brain so we know how to do something, so then we can somewhat break the rules. If you don't know the rules to begin with, then how in the world can you ever break them? Theories help me memorize key signatures. It's helped me memorize time signatures, chord progressions. I'm thinking when I am playing a piano solo, as I'm playing that song, I am thinking the chord progression in my head. And the final thing we'll talk here, the Nashville number system. If you've not heard of that, that's the system that we use in the recording studios to record your songs. I work with songwriters all the time where I'm doing demos for them. They send me a rough vocal, and off of their melody line, music theory allows me to hear the chord progression, or even at times the options that I can take a chord progression, and I will write it out on a piece of paper, and then I'll start the recording process and build all of the instrumentation and build a track around that first basic chart. So our Nashville number system is a way that we have broken the rules. When I learned music theory, I learned to analyze using Roman numerals. And we would call a tonic chord or identify it with a capital I. We would call the dominant chord, we would notate it with the capital V. The subdominant would be a capital IV. When I learned the Nashville number system and saw the advantage there, we would call the tonic chord, instead of a Roman numeral 1, we would call it just a 1. We would call the dominant a 5, and we'd call the subdominant chord a 4 chord. The advantage to the Nashville number system is we can utilize one chart for any key that we need to play that song in. So we can't do that, though, if we don't have a little bit of music theory knowledge underneath our belt to adapt to a new system. Again, the number system allows us to work smarter and not harder. So many reasons. I remember growing up, my dad would come in with groceries, and this is back in the paper bag days. And my mom would start putting the groceries away, and he would say, Barb, don't throw those bags away. And you would look, and he would have a bag of groceries sitting in the passenger seat, and he'd be driving down the road and either hear something on the radio or God give him an idea, and he would write number charts. Almost every grocery bag that came through our house had a number chart written on the side of it, where it allowed him to notate his thoughts. I've heard singers, so many singer-songwriters say this, man, I had a melody and I didn't write it down and I lost it. I will write melody lines down in number form that's simply because of having the elements of music theory and having the knowledge of music theory in my life. So there are so many ways that it can help you. The biggest thing, you've heard me say it a ton during this, it allows you to work smarter, not harder. I don't know anybody that would not want to approach something that they love that way. I'll say this, if you are involved in music and you love music, I don't know why you would want to limit yourself. I believe you would want to be able to do the sky's the limit approach to your music. Music, again, helps us bring people together. Your ability to understand music theory is going to put you, that circle of people is going to become larger immediately. Music improving your confidence. You start to understand and know what you're doing, you're going to be more confident in doing it. My approach with teaching is this. I try to make every one of my students a teacher. I want them to understand it to a point. I want to deliver it in such a way that they're going to not only grasp it for themselves, but have such a level of understanding of it that they can teach it to other people. And that's confidence. That just creates confidence. Music, again, creative outlet. The more you know, the more doors can open. And then lastly, music is fun. Man, music theory, again, I said it at the beginning, it's my favorite aspect of this because it allows me to do whatever I want to do musically. I'm not handcuffed. I'm not limited. I can do whatever I set my heart's desire to do because the theory foundation underneath my music allows me to do so many things. So didn't really get into this is theory and that's theory. We'll talk more in other episodes, other podcasts about theory. But for now, my question, the topic, why music theory? I think the real question is why not music theory? So man, do some study on your own. Get on the internet, look up music theory, watch how it can drastically change your music. Thanks for listening to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the name the Charles Novell School of Music. And for more information on CNS and our upcoming events, like our online school, our weekend regional sessions, our creative coaching, and our pastor's retreat, you can visit us at our website at www.cnsmusic.com. As you've listened to this episode, we hope that you've gained some information that you can apply to your music and to your ministry to make today the best day yet.